Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to what I hope is another. I gotta stop saying that hope thing. I have a very good friend of mine who says, hope is not a plan. Hope is not a plan, Kim. That's what he tells me. All right, so anyway, start that over. So, greetings, Minecrafters. It is my intention that this will be a very interesting Minecraft episode for you. And I'm out here in the woods, which you know is my favorite. My favorite is snow, because I'm a total winter person. Here comes little G. He's got his nose all full of snow, and I'm a total skier, which is what I'll be doing tomorrow morning. Absolutely. And so I also love this. Before we get going, I just gotta show you how pretty that is. Oh my God, I love when there's like snow art and ice art and the little marshmallow, like it makes like little marshmallows. Here's more on this side. Look, it's so serene and peaceful. Okay, so anyway, this just had me thinking. This is super spontaneous right now because it's the holiday season and there's so much good about the holidays. There's just a lot of pro-social behaviors, we would say, people doing nice things for other people. There's a lot of warmth and kindness all over the place, not to mention the great food, the wine, all the, I guess desserts fall into the food category, but I think it feels kind of separate. And you feel like you're also the licensed to eat dessert first, which hopefully you do feel like that every day because, you never know it could be your last one, you know what I mean? But also, as we've talked about before, not everybody enjoys them. And we're not going to talk about the whole full swing at the other end when, people really, legitimately so, of course, need to, bow out of that. I'm going to talk about, just I guess the middle. It can be the middle, which is just, because it can happen. People can hurt each other's feelings, right? But that's actually what I'm going to take that back. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say, and I'm not going to edit it. Why? Because we call that human. What I meant to say is people say hurtful things. That's what I want to say. Wow, this is so beautiful. It's hard to focus. People say hurtful things all the time, sometimes intentionally and sometimes not intentionally. And it slips out for whatever reason. We're hungry, angry, sick, tired, kind of like 2-year-olds, right? And so here's the thing is that just because people are saying hurtful things doesn't mean we need to be hurt. If you find doing speed dogs, he loves that. Look at that. He's actually very mellow until he gets in the snow. Anyway, so here's the thing is we don't have to allow ourselves to be hurt. And so it sounds like, oh, so cheesy. You don't know my mother-in-law, or you don't know my sister or my sister's boyfriend I don't like, or whatever. Sure, it's not different. There are hurtful people all over the place. And then there are also people who are generally really, really good, who sometimes just cave to the pressure of the holidays or whatever's going on in their lives. So here's the thing. It's also one of the 4 agreements, which just came into my head at this minute. Don Miguel Ruiz, we talked about don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally ever, because it isn't. Even if it's got your name on it, like a Vegas neon sign, over a casino, it doesn't make a difference, because we're all experiencing life through our own schema or filter. It's just how it is. All of it comes into play. How you grew up, whether you grew up in an urban place or a rural place or a suburban place, what your birth order is, or if you're an only child, whether you had one parent or two, the whole thing. Demographics, all the demographics, if your family is financially stable versus not, and then all the other stuff, housing security or insecurity, food security or insecurity, all of it rolls into how we treat people. Even if all that was, back when you were 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 and 15, it all just kind of is in the vault there. And so all of that rolls in. So he talks about that in his book about just don't ever take anything personally, because it's coming through the eye of the main actor on the stage. And we are all the main actors on our stage. So it's so important to realize that. And also a very similar one to that hurtful thing I just said is Eleanor Roosevelt, one of my favorite first ladies, might even be my favorite first lady, I'm not sure. Anyway, she's at the top of the list. She says that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And that kind of goes along with what I'm saying, is just because somebody says something hurtful doesn't mean we need to take it right into the living room, where we're parked on the couch with our feet up and, a flat screen inside the cabeza, and just bring all that stuff in. No, we don't, because we have a choice about that. We can definitely let the toxics go, just release like a helium balloon, just gone. And if it's somebody who's usually good and has a lot of snark, or they have something going on in their lives, just step out of the current. You can excuse yourself from whatever gathering it is for a little bit. We talked about being quietly effective. The best way to deal with people who are anywhere from snark to the whole middle ground where they're just hurtful and you don't want to be around them at all, and then there's the toxic end way over here, right? So we do have a lot of control. We can get out of Dodge. If you don't have a vehicle, or you don't have a vehicle, you rode with other people to the gathering, and you know that somebody is there is going to be challenging, make a plan ahead with a cousin or a friend or a sibling. Like, when I give you the high sign, like, get out of here, and just plan for that, because your life minutes are valuable. This is the thing, because in the holiday season, for some reason, we tend to think, I don't know what we think. We think it's okay to just abandon myself for a while because the holidays will be over and then I can regroup. No freaking way. There is never, ever, ever an okay, good reason to abandon yourself. There's no worse thing you can do to you than abandon yourself. And so it might take some strategizing and planning and calculation and all stuff like that. But you got to sort of do damage control. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. That's a word I really try to delete from my vocabulary. The reason I just said it now is because I'm hoping you delete it out of yours too, and don't have those expectations. If you know that the holidays are going to be a little challenging, just go in knowing that, and do the best you can. Set the bar. Do your best. That's something we can always do. Is set the bar. Do our best. We can always reach that goal, because we can move it up, down, like whatever. And just know you're doing the best you can, and realize, because all of this comes down to our life minutes are the most valuable commodities. Obviously, there isn't language to put onto life minutes, because it's our sacred self, our eternal self, right? And the life minutes are while we're on this earth, and there's nothing more valuable, nothing more precious. And so the life minutes matter today. It's not just all just get, kind of survive Christmas Eve or survive Hanukkah Day 3, or, no, hopefully surviving and living are not the same thing. And there's sometimes, certainly, that life happens, and there are times when we get a tragic phone call or whatever, and then we are in survival mode, temporarily. On a day-to-day basis, life just isn't an emergency. It just isn't. It might be kind of tricky with certain family members, and again, that's a holiday thing, because you're all thrown together. The rest of the year, we can avoid them, right? If we need, not all of them, maybe all of them, I don't know, but we can usually avoid them partially or even entirely, because they live in different states, cities, towns, countries, and then the holidays are all thrown together, and so that just takes a little bit more planning. But just remember, nobody can, just like Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Nobody can hurt you without your consent either. No one else can hurt your feelings but you allowing it. No one else can hurt your feelings. They don't have that kind of power. Wayne Dyer says it a lot. Nobody else can hurt your feelings. Your feelings belong to you. So how can they? That's ridiculous to even say that. So it's important to bring whatever need for approval that's out here back in here. Okay. Remember, nobody can hurt your feelings. Not during the holidays, and not ever. And it goes back to that the Wizard of Oz witch there. I love that. I've used that a few times in these videos. The good witch, right, of the North, she says, you have no power here. You don't have to go announcing that, or you can, depending on the context, but you know it. What you say is to toxic 1, 2, and 3, or just the nudgers. Maybe you really like them usually, but not on that day. You have no power here. Force field. I got a love field going on around me. A love field and a self-acceptance field, and I value myself, and my authentic orb is around me, and you have no power here. That's it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the gorgeous winter wonderland in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.